Hello YouTube, I'm back again with another video. This time I'm going to be doing an important rant. To me, I find it personal because I'm going to talk about how stupid it is for people to tell another adult how to spend their money. Um, Obviously I'm going to be real though, like before I go into more detail though, like one thing you shouldn't really waste your money on is like drugs, gambling with your money, whether you're going to casinos or just buying like junk food unless you're like it's okay occasionally, but of course you got to spend your money wisely. But I feel like if you do have money, of course you got to be able to pay to cover for your bills. I understand that's very important, but there's a reason why you shouldn't tell another adult how to spend the money, because that's their way of wanting to live their life. They buy the stuff they want because it makes them feel happy, and I feel like we should not pursue that, but try to give them words of encouragement to try and do better. And this kind of goes like into my personal life. I'm not gonna really go give names of the people, but me, I was collecting a bunch of Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I would use the money to buy Yu-Gi-Oh cards, not only because of the cycle of addiction, but I had plans in the future once I reach like near my 30s. I would end up selling my cards, I feel like, and not try to be heavily invested in the game, because my plan was to help me become more competitive as well as try to make money in the long run. But I knew someone in personal life, and it was crazy. Like again, I think I mentioned it before. Used to be a close friend, somebody from high school. Went back and forth arguing, called each other names. It was crazy. It got to the point where I literally called him a retard because I was so aggravated, because even when I try to get my point across, I told him again, my money, my rules, and I worked. Especially if you worked really hard, that's the one thing I'm trying to make people understand. Especially if you worked really hard for your money, you went through the trouble trying to like sacrifice a lot of your time of course, you gotta work for your money. Like if you, especially when you put your blood on the line, I'm talking about you sweat, you work crazy hard, you do hefty amount of lifting, moving, then of course you feel that you have to like reserve that money for yourself. And it feels like whatever whoever tells you how to spend your money is is unjustified. The only thing the only approval I would give for the people that I allow to argue with me about money is my family, because I feel like they're the people that I should count on, and I know them because since they've been there for my whole life, they provide for me in the past, so I can trust them more than friends that I knew from high school or middle school or recently. So, because I feel like if you want to count your money towards someone, count it towards your family, and I feel like that's the best way to deal with this, so you can avoid stress, because I feel like they can agree with your choices because they don't want to argue with you. So as a kid, that's different. Yeah, if you're trying to, if a kid's given money, you gotta teach him to be responsible at all times, and let him know what stuff is important and what's the least important stuff in life. And you can be able to enjoy them. I understand, because the moment you have money, it's not gonna be there forever. And there are times you gotta spend it, because do you want to spend on something boring, or you want to spend on something worth value that you can enjoy for the rest of your life or most of your life. So because you never want to touch money, because it's always going to be valuable. If you had kept that $100 bill, 200, 1,000, it's going to be useful for even for 10 remaining years, even longer, as long as the bill doesn't wear out or people don't refuse your cash, because it has to be useful. It has to be sure that the cash is actually unwarranted. And what I mean unwarranted is something that can be accepted by debit, whether it be by like the cash register or debit machine. So, and about my friend that I was talking about, it goes back to like recognizing the signs of financial abuse. And This doesn't just apply, and again, there's more to it, of course, and I've known this. I know the friend that I had back in the day, even though he apologized, I know it doesn't just apply to him, it applies to a lot of people. This could be people at your workplace, your coworkers, your fiance, um, your family. There are people out there besides that one person who will take advantage of you for your money. And I've seen this way too often, especially on social media. And not many people are, I feel like, are calling this out. People talk about the abuse, but they don't explain in detail, like, why you should protect your money and why though other people's opinions don't matter, and that you should let people decide for you. I would never let anybody decide my money for me unless they're actually trying to give me good advice. And there are times where I have to follow through with it, so I don't make several mistakes in the future, whether it may be now, or like in the past, or in the current time. Sorry about my phone, you guys. That was my ringtone. But again, let me get into the important part, because there are people who only care about money. They're only nice to you if you give them money, and and that's the only way you some people can come to their senses, if you pay them. But all of a sudden, that's really no excuse though. So the moment you give somebody money, that's the only way they'll listen to you. Like, you gotta be kidding me. It explains their feeble mindset. It just goes to show you how ignorant and selfish they are. Cause not everything. The moment you tell everyone, or you tell someone they need to be paid, they're gonna laugh at you, or they're gonna slap you across the face. In my opinion. And this is not to be harsh or anything. It's there. I'm speaking out of reality, because anytime you constantly bring up money, or you feel you need to be paid, you need to be compensated by given money, by doing someone a favor, people are just gonna make fun of you and just look at you as a clown. Like, there's a time for money, and there's a time for um being serious, because you're not gonna be paid for everything. If you're doing someone a favor, you're doing it because you're trying to get them out of a bad situation. You want to make sure they're safe. You want to make sure they're clear of problems, so they can avoid even more problems. But people, like, it doesn't surprise me, especially in the modern world. All they ever think about is money, and I'm applying to specific people. Yeah, money is important. You need money to survive. You need to be able to live your life. Without money, you're in, like, how are you gonna be able to make ends meet? So, but again, about going back to my friend, is like, he started to realize, like, the flaws that he made with the argument. Because again, I one thing I forgot to mention is that he would belittle my decisions. He would insult my intelligence, and be very condescending, and that's what really took me. And that justifies my negative behavior towards him, and retaliating, and letting him know, yo, bro, like, if there's a problem, I don't care what you say, because what you say is not gonna change my mind, and again, you're not gonna win that situation. When you argue about an adult about their money, you're not. I personally think you're not gonna win with that situation, because they're always gonna have they're always gonna have second thoughts. They're gonna have it, like, their own opinion, and they're gonna make their own decisions in life, because you can't change it unless you somehow decide you want to threaten them, or you want to somehow, like, do whatever you can to persuade them, and just, like, manipulate the situation by trying to lie. I'm not going to be convinced otherwise. So, because again, I am speaking out of reality, because at the end of the day, that person, if the money belongs to them, it's under their bank account, in their wallet, they should be, out of their consideration, out of their rights, they have the right to decide for themselves. And by doing so, you're essentially violating their rights. And what I mean, you're violating rights. No one can decide how another man or a woman can use their money, regardless how they utilize it, whether it's for the wrong reasons or for the right reasons. Because the more you pursue it, not only you're just adding more stress. Just let I'm just trying to be honest. It's not worth the fight. It's not worth the argument. The more arguments you are, it just makes you look more stupid, in my opinion. And my old friends start to realize that, and then we start to go our separate ways. We realized our wrongs and showed, like, admit to it and try to do better and try and improve along the way, because what is the point in arguing about another person's money? Because they feel like at the end of the day, in their mind, they feel like their rights is being violated. That's the first thing that they think as to why they don't want to let others try to manage their money. And it goes back to managing someone else's money, because it can also be considered illegal too. You tell someone you're trying to protect their income, you're trying to protect their, like, account balance, whatever money they have remaining left, whether it may be from fees or service charges, but then only to find out that you're using their money um, without their consent, because now you're taking advantage of their, like, promise by deciding now once you have their money you can use it however you feel, and now that's under your account instead of theirs, because by allowing someone to manage your money, now you got to think about it. If is your money really safe from, like, from that person? Are they really willing to do you that favor and to save you more money, or are they just going to use it behind your back, which most likely odds are they're going to do? For example, Bitcoin, or the people like you have on Instagram. You see a lot of scammers, no surprise. And you should learn that as a learning lesson too. But also, like, there's whether scams exist, like, it could be from a workplace, it could be at a, like, corporation, you go to a game store, whatever. Those are things you have to be aware of. And then just be able, if you want to check for the right price, be able to check the market value first, whichever is cheap, whichever is more affordable, and which is more convenient. But again, even though I bring up my friend again, considering the argument lasted like literally 2.5 years, I'll admit, started from May 2018 till November 2020. I appreciate that he admitted that he was wrong and realized his flaws and just wants to try to, like, be able to redeem himself. And I did the same, because the way we argued was like, it was very heated, like as if we want to go at each other until one of us dies. But that wasn't we realized that wasn't the best way to handle it. We should try to come forward, be mature about it, try to explain things more logically, try to not be more emotional, and so that way we could figure out a solution in order to resolve this problem and make better choices in the future, which we decide to do now when the older we get, so that we have no regrets later on. But again, I feel like I said enough. Hopefully you guys enjoy the video. Be sure to check for more upcoming content later in the future. Be sure to check your notifications, comment, like, subscribe. You know the drill. Signing out.